Hello, Lisa. How are you today?
Hey, Laura, so good to see you.
Thank
I'm
you.
good. Hey, Fran. Hey, Kay.
Yeah, Shane was just telling us, here's all the people waiting, waiting to see us log on live, and it's just sending a huge shout out of thanks to all of you who are joining us. We're such a fledgling podcast, but it's really exciting to kind of hear who's watching and how many people are watching and sharing on different platforms. And I want to direct all of your attention because our gratitude goes out to KRTD Media. So if you could all share that we're asking to cover our costs. So if you could go to patreon.com, every little bit helps, a couple bucks or whatever you can do. I know everybody is spread really quite thin, but we are the political revolution. We are the healthcare justice revolution. So independent media is how we're going to grow our grassroots networks. We're able to platform all kinds of activists, some who have been with the Red Berets, and of course, we're extending beyond people that are organizing directly with the Red Berets. We're hoping to platform all healthcare justice people who are organizing on their state, local efforts and building mass movements for Medicare for all. That's what we're doing. We're working on a creative solidarity approach. So, yeah, if you can chip in and share the Patreon of a KRTD Media, and make sure that if you are watching on YouTube, or if you're not, you could visit us at KRTD Media on YouTube, Knit the Revolution, like the video, subscribe, and share. And that helps us out a lot. Thank you so much. What do you have for us today, Lisa?
Wow, what do I have? Well, let's talk about all these great, wonderful people that are stepping up and making Red Beret chapters in their states, which is a vision that Laura and I had years ago about doing a 50 state strategy with the Red Berets because, anybody can come in here and work with us and we'll promote you and we'll help you. And I had a discussion. Hi, Joe Firestone, by the way, and hi, Sakuru. I had a discussion with Joe about this today. He said, well, what is that 50 state strategy? I'm paraphrasing. And I said, well, Red Berets are looking for crafters. We're looking for people to come in and be willing to talk with us. We're going to have that December 10th
Yeah.
knitting circle that Louis the cellist organized. And it's just to bring people together so that we can craft, talk about activism. How do you get into it? You can get up, fall out of bed, and end up an activist, and you didn't even know it happened. It's not like this big thing. You got to figure out how to do it. And Laura has always had the vision of putting berets on heads so that we have this peace army for healthcare. And this is how we're going to do it. And, every single one of you out there who are watching this who, think, oh gosh, I could never be an activist. Yes, you can. Yeah. You can sit in your living room and be an activist and don't let anybody tell you can't. Yeah. If you crochet or knit or paint or whatever you do, if you do any of that, you can turn that into activism for healthcare. And that's the red thread, right, Laura?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what it is. It's that red thread that binds us together. So, with all of my talking windedness,
no,
thank you, everybody who's coming tonight to get signature captain training to help out with whole Washington. I will be there.
Yep,
I'm going to sign up. I live 3,000 miles away, and I'm going to do it. Yeah. We're going to do this, okay? And I'm in awe of how many Red Berets chapters were started just this week. People that are willing to be in this with us and out there tweeting on their own with their own accounts and retweeting. And that's all you got to do is retweet. And then as we go, things
Yeah.
will come up.
Yeah.
You get
We build we,
involved.
bu- we build the movement, and you draw people to you who have the different skills and strengths. Yeah, just to give, we'll be introducing Sarah Hansen here really, really shortly. We were meant to have a 5-minute intro, so we're running over just a little bit. But it has been what I hope that we'll do with this time with Sarah Hansen, who has brought the term craftivism to the Red Berets. She was at the local Olympia Whole Washington House Party, the very first Whole Washington event that I attended, and I sometimes talk about that. The first time that I showed up, when I was invited, to kind of reach out to Whole Washington, and then I had been knitting these red berets, and so I brought a little stack. And Sarah Hansen was at this event, so this was our first, Mariana Everson was at the event, Georgia Davenport, and a few other wonderful Olympia and people traveling for this. It was just a little Whole Washington house party. This is another way you do things. You just build community. So, but from that event, I found out, of course, that Sarah did crochet. And then it wasn't too much longer after that we were working together to say, hey, let's take all of our red berets and our Whole Washington banner and information about Whole Washington, and let's go to the Women's March in Olympia. And there was a couple of red berets who went up to the Women's March in Seattle. So this would have been the second Women's March, not the first year, but the second year. So, and Sarah Hansen womaned the booth as I was marching, but we'll talk about that. Let's introduce her. But I guess I'm just saying, like, it's a real pleasure and joy because Sarah has been a foundational member of the Red Berets, even though.
Laura, she had to step away. She had to go take care of her daughter, so she's going to come back in a couple minutes.
Yeah. But I mean, just so all of you know, there's been so many different things. It's kind of like one of the reasons why we're doing Knit the Revolution is because literally when it comes to who has helped either by knitting or crocheting or creating memes and gifs or creating their policy, contributing their policy knowledge, the list of who to invite and who to try to platform when we were starting to get some independent media is so long, as was evidenced by our invitation to participate in the General Strike Summit. And that was really, really beautiful to be able to do that. And also, Fred Hampton Left has changed the name of their media. I'm forgetting. I won't be able to say it just off the top.
Revolutionary Blackout Network,
Blackout,
I think.
Blackout Network, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So, what an amazing invitation. But that panel, honestly, if you all knew like the list of who I wanted to include, everybody that we included was kind of like the tip of the iceberg, and the panel was kind of, how do I come to these decisions? Because we easily could have had 10 or 15 or 20 more people. Red
Sounds
Berets.
like we need to do a Red Beret Summit sometime soon. But okay, go ahead.
We do need to do a Red Beret Summit.
Operations, yay!
There you go. So Sarah is somebody who, when I first started my little Red Berets YouTube channel and just kind of would give updates on my own and do some just monologues and give people some Whole Washington updates and tell people about Red Berets stuff we were doing. And I just tech challenged and tried to kind of get Sarah on. I guess my point is that Sarah has not been platformed yet, and yet she's one of the first people who crocheted and helped build really all of the imagery, all the early imagery that we shared on Twitter to kind of help. Imagery is very powerful. That's what we're doing here. And as we sort of started to build our network on Twitter and meet people like Lisa, and Steven Scapoletti and Sima Hernandez.
Kuru.
Hi, Sakura. Red Berets Summit. Yeah, that would be really awesome. I, where was I going with that? Just that
It's high time we got her here.
it's high time we got her here. That's it. Yeah, it's that because it's kind of harkening back to the early days where some of that imagery that we collected at the Women's March with the big um, hand painted flag that I brought, and Sarah holding her. I share that a lot on Twitter. That picture of her holding that whole Washington banner in her red beret. It's one of my favorite, and I guess if we want to talk about like iconic Red Berets photos, that is definitely one from the archives that we just share repeatedly, and it's because it's Red Berets in action. It was us saying, no, we refuse to just, we are going to bring the platform to the Women's March. Everyone that comes to the Women's March will see that healthcare. All right, it looks like Sarah's back.
If she's back. Yes, hooray. Let her in, Shane.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. Once I'm gonna mute myself for just a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can go into my favorites, Laura, and find. I know exactly which picture you're talking about. If you can email it to yourself, we can pull it up in a share screen.
Oh yeah, let me do that. And and by the way, folks, I want to let people know that Sarah is when she is able to come back, she'll fill us in on that she's a full-time care provider, and I don't want to tell her story. She will tell it, but why she's kind of having to be in and out on this feed, she will come and fill us all in here in a few minutes. And we've told her absolutely this is not anything to worry about or anything to be feeling like is an inconvenience. We work around this. This is what happens with mothers, parents, caregivers, all caregivers in the healthcare. They are some of the most passionate people who actually desperately need these policies to pass. And so it's never an inconvenience or something that we need to apologize for. It's the space that we need to hold when people need to step away and give care. And like I say, Sarah will come in and let us know to the extent that she wants to share what's happening and specifically, why she. I don't know if I know the full story of like how did she hear about whole Washington, and I'm very interested in these stories because it's how we movement build. We touch each other's lives, and just the fact that I went down to that Olympia house party and was really welcomed. My first experience clearly down at that little house party was one of being very, very warmly welcomed. I felt like I was being welcomed into a family, by Sarah and by Mariana Everson and by all the folks there that were at that little house party. It was a formative experience for me that this is what organizing was. It was about family and good food in that case, and bringing some berets and having some total strangers just get completely excited. What you brought? What are these? Oh, and and that's kind of the neat thing that there we go. We're back.
There she is.
Sorry.
So, no. I was just saying there's not any apology to ever make. We were just explaining that this is the space that we need to create.
I'm going to take it off so it doesn't make her mad.
She can come in. Let's see her if she wants to.
Yell at me.
Why don't you ask her if she wants to come in and be on the show?
Do you want to be
Maybe
on?
she'll be interested.
No. Why don't you go in the living room and watch your show? Let me try to.
No,
How
I
sweet.
I completely understand this. There's just times like where um my son is like he puts up like he deals with a lot, you know, as do our all of our families who are really full time in this healthcare justice organizing. We have Red Berets happen to be at the intersection of a lot of different, you know, whole Washington, and now Lisa's getting really, you know, firmly committed and active with Scott, forming up New York Red Berets, and
And
also,
he's going to reciprocate.
and
We've got some things in the works.
yeah. So I mean, this is the thing. Hello, Anna.
Aw, hi, Anna. I saw your tree that you put up today, the suicide prevention tree. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
I didn't see it, but I will make a after the show. I'll make a. I will go and have a look.
It's beautiful. It's a tabletop tree,
Mm,
and it's got a dove on it, and a big brown wood D, and a bulb that says Danny, and
mm,
it's got blue light. See, I'm gonna cry.
mm, mm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and this is the thing: is how I mean, this creativity that is not limited to berets, but there was, you know, Anna made an ornament that's got some berets in it, you know, so it can certainly include red berets, but it can be anything, you know. It's about you know, art really nourishes and connects us and inspires us and feeds our soul, feeds our activism, keeps us going because I think, you know, I'm somebody who suffers with depression, has suffered with depression my whole life. I think many of us do. And I mean, the best way to describe something like that is just you can try medication, you can try holistic remedies. You can, if you have the luxury of having mental health care, you can see a counselor or a professional. You know, but mental health care, we need that to be covered. That's another aspect of why I'm fighting in this work. And what I was going to say is that for those of us who know depression very personally firsthand, sometimes no matter what we do, we can try to self care and we can do all these things, but sometimes there just isn't anything that's going to lift it until it lifts. We have to just be in that place, and then sometimes the clouds part and there's a little bit of lightning and a little bit of coming out of it. Obviously it's not something that somebody can just switch on and off. And so all I want to say about the movement is because of COVID, I feel energetically like our whole, you know, we are dealing with a very seriously depressed mass electorate. And, uh, and so the art is really something that can really carry a candle and hopeful lights for people because this is hard stuff. So let's just really acknowledge that. Um, Sarah, I want
And the Red Berets can provide community for all of that,
I am
yeah,
so sorry.
right?
no,
Do not
not at all.
apologize.
No,
Mm-mm. And
not at
let's
all.
just add on to depression because I'm more anxious. The
Yeah,
anxiety can be just as
sure.
debilitating, right?
Yeah.
And when you do this kind of work, you've got a community that can support you.
Yeah.
So, hi, girl.
And that's the one great thing I've really learned with Laura is that she understands my limitations and what I can offer and what I can do. And my lane can be I have to stay at home. I'm so envious of you guys getting together and hitting the streets. That's what's in my blood when I was younger was in the streets, direct action. And so when I see you guys in Vancouver and in New York and Washington, D.C., my heart is just like, oh, at least my berets are there.
Right, right.
So,
But you're there too because every time I would go, I would always be thinking about those people that weren't there. You know, Scott,
It's
when I was out
to know
there
that
and stuff.
there's a spot for us people who can't be in the streets. I think people forget that if you're only in the streets, that's the way to do activism, and that's just like
Not true.
ableist
Yes,
to the
yes,
extreme.
it is very ableist. And well, I mean, Sarah, what do you want to start with? What's pressing, like, to get out? What wants to come out sort of right away? What do you want to share with us? Because I have all kinds of questions and
Well,
prompts.
I've been an activist my entire life. I was born in Canada. I wasn't raised there, but I was born there. And so I am a product of their healthcare system to start with. So to know that we can do better has always been in me. Like, well, if Canada can do it, this little country that, doesn't have much to speak of can handle it, why aren't we doing it down here? So that drive was always in me. As a young adult, I got my teeth wet in the streets of Seattle in '99 with the WTO, and have continued my activism since then. That whole week of WTO in '99 was eye-opening activist, and how true coalition building can work between environmentalists and labor workers and unions was amazing to see. Like, I'd never seen that before. And so it was just like, seriously, we can agree that, the man's trying to keep us down. So that was eye-opening to me as an activist. More recently, as an adult, I'm a parent of a disabled child. So the fight for healthcare has become even more imminent for me. Like, it has to happen, like, now. And as a parent, my dad has cancer. My brother is in kidney failure on dialysis. So healthcare just seemed like a natural fight for me. And so I've been fighting universal health for a long time. So that's my story in a nutshell, which is a pretty big nut.
Oh, Laura, you're muted.
Yeah, I know that you shared quite a bit with me the two times that we organized together at Women's March, and the second time, well, let's see, no, because the first time was really special because we did all march together, and so you and Tracy were taking that first batch of photos, and you took the photo of me and Tambourine Borelli, and that first photo of the Red Berets flag, and then there's the photo of you with the whole Washington flag banner, rather. And yeah, I just
the little one come back in, so let me just take her back out, and I will come back and talk because I do want to talk about the Women's March.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, guys that are watching, would you mind tweeting out onto Twitter the episode? Because Shane is saying, I guess we didn't tweet out enough right before the show, and a lot of people aren't tuned in right now. Onto Twitter.
Oh goodness. There you're talking.
Okay, I'm going to share, and Laura's going to share. So, if you haven't noticed, we're kind of easy going here, and like just about every day, every moment of the day, right? We're looking down at our phones, tweeting.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we have, thankfully, we do have. There's always so much to amplify. Where we have other amazing podcasts that are coming up on KRTD Media, and I'll remind you all of that Patreon link that's right there. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting to do it at the end, but now I can. Shane will be very happy because I've remembered to say it 3 times, 3 times if I remember. But yeah, just to remember that we are. This was kind of what it was like in during I-1600 in 2018. You know, as we're going to talk about when Sarah comes back. When we went to the Women's March in January, and then kind of launched almost immediately, end of February, into the first ballot initiative. For me and a few people crafting Red Berets, it was like we were doing all jobs. We were gathering signatures. We were knitting berets to try to get this idea started. Try to start a little flame, you know. And so we went to the Women's March. My whole idea of why to get to the Women's March, clearly, I thought, you know, maybe we'll find and see some of these crafters who knit the pink hats, you know, and we'll let people know that healthcare is a women's issue and it's a human rights issue. And so obviously, you know, I've heard different things from progressives that, oh, why would you go to that? That's the, you know, they're not, it's like we go because we take the platform to people. We take the platform to everybody because that's how we grow the movement. And that's how we let people know what it is we're doing. That people don't necessarily find Whole Washington or the Red Berets. It has, you know, it's taken a lot of work, a lot of tweets from myself and Lisa and Fran Bauer and Sarah Hansen. Sarah Hansen is amazing on Twitter. She's somebody who was really, really helping to tag independent media, to thank all the independent media who were covering Whole Washington and the Red Berets, to nicely ask people who, thank you so much, Fran.
Thank you very much.
So just remembering that, you know, we're knitting and crocheting hats, and in some cases sewing hats. We're creating memes and GIFs. We're crafting tweets. We're attending healthcare meetings.
Kat did the masks. Remember?
Kat did the masks, absolutely, I remember. And you know, she just put out a couple of new memes today. Of, you know, hi Sarah, welcome back.
Hi. I don't know how much time I've got. She's mad. It's a bad day for her. So
okay,
I'll be a little bit. So,
well,
you wanted to talk about the Women's March.
Well,
the first Women's March.
I think what I'm trying to get at with that is not. It's kind of
it was
like
the first year we had brought an issue to the Women's March, and it wasn't just a bunch of women getting together to say we're marching against Trump.
Right.
It was kind of like, okay, well, what's a woman's issue, which is healthcare? So we weren't just wearing the pink hats; we were wearing the berets, and it was like people are like, "What are the red berets? What is that for?" You know, and why are you wearing that instead of the pink hat? Was kind of a driving force as to, well, it's a woman's issue, but it's also just an everybody issue, because one thing with the Women's March, they ran into a bunch of issues with trans issues and LGBTQ issues, and it became a problem, really. It became, like an ableist, almost synonymous with white privilege, and the Red Berets brought an issue to that event here in Olympia that was sorely missing in Olympia, because before that it was just, we're against Trump, and that's an easy position.
Yes,
so
it is.
And the visual with Whole Washington as well. The red, the visual of the red with Whole Washington and the Red Berets in Olympia was an eye-catching, very striking. Again, so when everybody else was wearing pink hats, those red hats really stood out. In that little group we were in, very core. And even the next year when we did it, and I didn't march, I just stayed at the booth. It was, see, we're all, if it's not pouring and you're not sopping wet at a protest in Washington, you're doing it wrong. It was so cold.
Well, we also did a lot with, it was whole Washington, but we were very Red Berets representing at Olympia Pride as well. And so that's another one that sticks out in my mind that I often forget is like, we were there running.
We actually
the booth
marched
together.
in that one and got a huge support in the parade. I was really surprised because we were just a small little contingent, and we were just, I think like 5 or 10 of us walking, and you would have thought it was one of the bigger floats going by. We had such a wonderful time. It was, gosh, all those events happen when it's so cold. So the berets are just so perfect.
Now, Red Berets MedicareForAll.com is where you can go if you want to volunteer. Or you can hit us up on Twitter. Just, Red Berets.
I crochet. I don't knit. I'm in awe of what Laura can do. I'm just a little old crocheter.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to laugh at you.
Playing piano and guitar. It's like I can't get both my hands to do it at the same time.
Okay. Well, just so you know, I've got nothing but healthy envy for you and for all of the crocheters in the movement, because it's so much faster, and then crochet just holds its shape so well. I think that crochet is the preferred medium. Knitters can, I hope as knitters come along, they take issue with that and say, you don't know what you're talking about.
We need some yarn wars going on between the knitters and the crocheters.
I've already got yarn wars over here. I'm already knotted up in that trigger.
Yarn wars. You know what? We could call the summit yarn wars.
I did want to say about craftivism. I did want to say craftivism. I've been thinking about what that means in activism, what that boils down to, and like, I don't know if you remember the visual at the Seattle Medicare for All March, this of the big vampire that they had, and it was sucking the blood off the coffin of the dead and everything, and that kind of craftivism, that kind of visual art is essential to any movement, whether it's a beret or a patch or a sign that you make that you just use Sharpie on. You are putting your artistic flair on it. You are saying it how you want to say it, whether it's text or neon or whatever your choice has been, whether it's just as urgent as a piece of cardboard and a pencil. It's making a statement visually that like I remember when the march came into Seattle Center and all those red berets, it was like a sea of red coming through. And it was just such an amazing visual to put with a movement. It's, you don't see that very often with any movement, whether it's Black Lives Matter, which would be a natural fit for I think for our craftivism to knit and crochet black berets, because
and we have for a little
their community
right?
is so devastated by our healthcare system. And I just so to see that visual, to add that, I think Joe Firestone really caught on to that. Seeing the visual of what it can do to a movement that is just it's I don't know, you see in history, you see it again and again, a visual that comes through, that catches your eye of a movement. And I'm so glad that Laura texted me one day and said, hey, you want to get a cup of coffee and let me tell you about my crazy idea. And, if it wasn't for Georgia, who sat in front of me at a Democrats meeting and Bernie told us to get involved, I don't think I would have ever picked up a crochet needle in the first place. So it's
I'm looking down
pretty
here for a
amazing.
second because I'm going to try to find, as I have this quick thing I want to share, which is a segue into talking about some of the incredible work that you do, that is both related, like you crochet Red Berets, but you've crocheted a lot of really amazing things. And I hope you have a quick, I mean, if it remains calm, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, we'll have you back on a better day. It's all okay. But I want to share, oh, just be quiet and it'll be okay.
Doing good.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Okay, don't jinx us. All right, Laura. Yeah, so I'm sorry, continue, but I don't want to be, I'm not trying to be rude. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking for a quick video and a photo to send to Shane, of more of your work that we can share. So go ahead, keep sharing.
This is the lady that does the snugs. And I had one of
I did the snoods.
I had one of those on when I was out in DC because this was like, and 90 degrees was nutty. That snug is, I love it.
Here in Washington today. I had to take it off. I can't.
But your snugs are great, especially with women who have long hair. They're terrific.
Well, I had a fun time making them. I have one of my own that I wore for the Seattle March as well because it was toasty warm this summer. There's no way I could have donned my red beret in my regular yarn but that also led to the scrunchies I made. That led to, it's like the cold weather led to our mittens that we made. And it's just a matter of finding, what calls to you, whether it's, like Scott, who makes those beautiful wooden charms. And
by the way, Anna wants one of your snugs.
Michelle do amazing work. Michelle, I'm in awe of what she is able to do with a
snoods. Sorry.
Yeah, and even with the snoods, it's like I used to say to Laura, was like, we're fighting for healthcare in the snood, and it's hot. We're in the snood, but there's a lot of the history of craftivism. I've been watching documentaries about the AIDS blanket, the AIDS quilt, the memorial quilt, and that's the longest, largest, still active crafting project in America. It's amazing. Go watch all the documentaries you can get your hands on. It is a piece of art as well as activism. It's a piece of history as far as how many people have died because of our healthcare system. And it's an amazing community that is still growing, unfortunately. I looked onto their website. I wanted to see if we could partner with them. I was just like, this is because we're a continuation of that. We just want everyone to have health care. And if it can help even, one person, then, that's why I'm for the through the states option. I'm all for fight on all fronts. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to happen through the states. And whether it happens in New York or Washington or California or
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts has one. Colorado had one for a while, had a bill for a while. And so if that's the way it's going to be, then getting our whole Washington, or not our whole Washington, but our Red Berets chapters to bond to those projects and those bills, because I know some of those states are bills and not ballots because they don't have that option. But we need, the support of the Red Berets is a visual of a movement that is for the national push. Like we're here to fight on the ground, on the state level, but we are everywhere and we are coming for health care. It's we might start in a small state, and that's fine, but if in 20 years down the road that means 3/4 of the country has health care, compared to the,
It
I'm
won't
one
take
of
that
them. I don't
long,
have health
Sarah.
care. I'm one of those people that have to be healthy all the time. And it's what do you do when you get sick? Who's the safety net for people who make too much but don't make enough? It's where the ACA falls flat for so many. But to go tangent on you a little bit, but the Red Berets really hold that thread of, Laura talks about the through thread all the time, that red thread that connects us all. I think is going to find that wonderful connection of through the states to the national push, because it is a caring community. Like, I haven't met a Red Beret that I don't love. If you're part of the movement, I had a discourse on the internet with someone who wears a Red Beret that has been from an honest perspective. Like, I'm not a policy wonk. Lisa, you and Joe amaze me. I watch your show, and MMT flies right over my head. It just, I'm so amazed so many people understand it, because I don't. I get it on a basic theory level, but policy, I can't do that. But I can craft for the movement that gets it. I don't feel like everybody needs to know to be a microeconomic major to be a supporter of it. I think that's where we get mired in the weeds of our movement.
Get too down in the weeds and lose everybody, right?
But this
don't want to lose people.
Says this, and this amount of money is going to be too much, and whatever the possibilities are, it boils down to, we all have a lane in the movement. Some of us have to be mad and screaming and have to be stirring the pot, and some of us need to be fully versed in every line of the policy. Not all of us need to be all of it.
No, that's right. And we have, as long as we know where to send people, as long as, and Whole Washington continues. For example, Andre Stackhouse just created, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it yet, Sarah. I know Lisa has. Just this morning from the Whole Washington account, there's a new video that's about 10 minutes long that Andre has outlined exactly the pathway through Whole Washington and the Signature Captain program, and so many incidentals and things that people need to know. That's more than just, hey, let's get signature captains. It's really a very comprehensive, amazing video in 10 minutes. How amazing this
I haven't watched it yet. I need to. Andre has an amazing way of putting things across.
Right.
That
but see,
goes, well, hey, that makes it sound like we can do it.
Exactly. I mean, and he doesn't purport to be able to knit a pretty cool but kind of messed up. No, just kidding. It's very cool.
Somebody hit her.
Let me
You're
share.
You're the only one that notices the drop stitch.
I know. Somehow a row got messed up, and it when you all see the perfection, you'll see it. But let me read this very short. Essentially, what I've done to be cheap and cheerful, because as we crafters all know, we're so much out of pocket, and this is going to be the segue into asking you just a little bit more about your hats and your own craftivism, some of which that you craft is Red Berets, and you've done some other really amazing things. So I want to make that segue quickly. But so let me just read this, because normally, because we're all out of pocket for yarn and for everything else, I knit as many. I'm always searching for what I call the perfect onion ring. Yes, the perfect onion ring exists in life. We don't have time to get into the details of what I consider the perfect onion ring, but I'm looking for the perfect onion ring in many areas of life, and that includes the Red Beret patterns. But I want it free. I want it free because I'm already, we're already out so much money, right? So I don't have the money to contribute to independent media, buy yarn, do all of this, get to events, do all this stuff. However, what I will say is this is really cool because I did treat myself after I did purchase this pattern, which is super cool, and I'm going to try it again. This beret is beautiful. It's awesome. And I'm going to try it again and get it just so. But last night I needed to purchase another pattern that was like, please build my I need something easier. I need to not think every single stitch. This was mind-bendingly difficult. So I purchased one more. And so this person, I'll just read this very quickly. She writes these patterns and she says, thanks for choosing a woolly wormhead pattern. I'm a full-time knitting designer living in a converted bus with my partner and son in an artists collective in Italy. Since our costs are low, we can live entirely from the proceeds of my patterns, but it's not easy. So I'm really grateful for your support. Seeing what's been made from a pattern really helps Ravelry users to choose what to knit. If you can take a few minutes to create and link your project, it will make all the difference to me and my family, as well as helping other Ravelers. You can also help by supporting me on Patreon. Click here, where I'm working towards the utopian goal of releasing more patterns for free. In return, you get exclusive content and discounts, free patterns, and behind-the-scenes insights. If you weren't satisfied, blah, 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 for pattern news. So that was Woolly Wormhead. And
that's awesome. She's sitting
really
in
awesome.
Italy.
She's living in Italy in a converted. So I just thought that's so cool.
And an artist commune. How amazing.
And how amazing is that? So literally I bought the other pattern and then I'm like, I'm going to treat myself to one more. I always knit free patterns and I just wanted, so reading her thing and seeing like, you can't see this because I'm knitting in like Heal the Purple World blue and purple kind of.
Oh, yeah.
But I will take pictures of it. It made me feel really, really good to know that, the money that I spend on this pattern is helping, finance her family's life, living in that beautiful way. And she's writing these beautiful patterns. So whether we knit or crochet patterns for free because we are really skint for cash, but I want people to have this understanding, and I'm leading into this segue for you, Sarah, is like, you really have to get down to all the messiness. I think Shane's going to share these pictures. The one on the left is Sarah's work. She knit that Bernie doll, crocheted that Bernie doll for me, and then Nurse Carlene, the other one, I forgot the other person's app that creates these Bernies. She made a special Red Berets edition doll. And we brought our Bernie friends, our crafted Bernie friends, to a local Red Berets. I think that was Run Bernie Run in Tacoma, Washington. Mm-hmm. And Shane, let's see if this video works. This is Sarah. I don't know if it will work.
Yeah. Video on video.
I save everything.
So
I know. It's so helpful if they all had. But yes, and feel free to those resources, okay?
Hi, thank you for womaning the booth.
My
I know.
Beret has a beret.
This is the lovely Sarah Hansen, for those of you who do not know.
All my information's gone.
Look, yours is
keep forgetting I have yours.
Beautiful.
I've only got a few more cards.
So Sarah was down here taking care of the booth and educating everybody while we were up at the rally and did the march, and she just deserves so much thank you because this is like the real work.
No,
So it was a lot of work to stand on that hill too, but
it's like I was not on the cold steps of the Capitol. You guys did the work.
It looks great. So wonderful.
So we have a good.
It's hard work standing on those cold Capitol steps.
22. Washington Trust.
Yeah.
Nice.
I save everything. So, just reading like.
I'm so glad you saved those because I
do.
No, I have some of them, but not all of them.
I wonder if people.
I cleared out of everything. I got rid of all the berets that you guys brought, and I bought. I had all the whole Washington information. and I was maybe there for an hour, and it was gone. It was all gone.
Yeah.
Everybody was just too interested.
Well, because you're really, I mean, you're really fun. You are a really, that's my experience of you. You bring a lot of fun and just joy, just natural joy. So it's like, I think when people come up to you, it's like, it's just contagious, you know? They want to, what do you have? Are you selling happiness at this booth?
What am I selling?
Healthcare,
I'm not selling
happiness,
anything,
yeah.
but I want your signature for healthcare. And you know, something that in all my signature gathering for whole Washington that I have done is get the signature first and then say you can vote no when it hits the ballot.
Sure.
Like, we need to get on the ballot first. Like, you can read it and say, hey, I don't agree with it, but like we got to get it on the ballot first before you can even say no to it. I mean, that is my in with, especially with Republicans, hardcore Republicans. But even now, I find that that's less and less. It's across party lines. It's usually more people that if I hit an affluent area where I think, oh, I'm going to get a lot of signatures outside the Whole Foods in Belfair. You know, like, no, I'm not. These people have health care. They don't want to pay more for it because they're in the bracket that will probably pay more for it.
Yeah, it really totally does shatter when you gather signatures for a ballot initiative. It shatters your narratives of exactly who's going to support this and why we shouldn't prejudge people and put people into political parties or because I've been told by many a registered Democrat in the Proctor district, no thanks, I'm fine. So don't tell me about Republicans not supporting this. Yeah.
It's not about party lines or ideologies or religious background or anything like that, because what I have found is that the saying is Medicare for all, not just Medicare for the people I like.
Right.
And if people had health insurance and had proper education, we would have less of this nationalist, of this poor ideology of the brain. It's just, if they had healthcare, there would be people vaccinated up the wazoo because we would just be informed.
Because we'd have public health system that people trusted.
We'd have a public health system. And people say all the time, and I think I heard it on your show, Lisa, with Joe, about if we jump to what Canada had, I'm just picking Canada because I'm from there. It could be UK, whatever. If we just said, okay, we're going to adopt this system and we're going to implement it right now as they do right now, we would fail. Because the systems they had in place at the beginning were for where we are, which is reactive care. And right now, their healthcare systems are built for preventative care. When you go into a Walmart in Alberta, there is a well-check center in there, not a McDonald's. And you go in there if your kid has the sniffles or you stubbed your toe and it's infected now. And you get care now. And you don't wait. And if you want a boob job, you might wait 6 weeks. Because it's non-emergent. But this whole, Canada can't, you got to wait time. I've got a wait time here. My child has been waiting for 9 months to see their neurologist. 9 months to see neurologist. As a child who has epilepsy and autism. What, are you kidding me? But it's a way of saying that, we can do it. We can't do what they're doing right now because we would fail, but we can get there. And, as far as like you're saying, everything out of pocket, every Red Beret I've ever made has been straight out of pocket. I make berets on my Hats by Me Facebook page.
That's what I was
there.
Hats by Me.
I do Bernie hats. I used to make Bernie hats. I know we're getting close to our time.
No, we wanted you to get to this. That's what I was
I've done Bernie hats. I do, if you want a Santa hat, or you want a Cookie Monster hat, you want, I do all kinds of things. Recyclable water balloons. I make these really cool soft water balloons. You get wet, and you don't have to have water balloon pieces all over your yard. I just recently made one of those patchwork quilts that Harry Styles had, where every patch is a different type. It's a $800 sweater in the catalog, and I just made it for $30.
That's awesome.
And some fun yarn. I had a great time. But yeah, I mean, I was doing craft fairs, but COVID's put a damper on that. But you can message me. I'm on Twitter. You guys all have my handles. I'm at Hansen 614.
What's your site again? What's her site again? What's your site again?
Hansen, HANSAN 614 is my handle on Twitter. And then I just started the Red Berets.
Red Berets page.
That's Sarah. Okay, good to know.
That's me. I'm doing the WA one, and then I forget her name. She's doing the Vancouver one, but I just started following her. I heard about her last episode, so I was like, I gotta find her on Twitter.
Yep,
that's it. That's me.
And then what is your craft site called again?
Hats by me.
Hats by me.
Hats by me on Twitter. No, that's on Facebook. Okay. And there's a link through the Red Berets on Facebook that I'm on there. So
okay, cool.
And then before I jump off here, because I know we've only got a couple minutes left, I didn't get a chance to ever talk to her. I had messaged, pronounced her name Annellis. Was that her name?
Yes.
Late passed away. Her story about her sister is my story about my daughter. And I miss her. She was a great voice.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that. We retweeted what Ron Placone had said. So if you ever want to know about my story about my daughter, she's nonverbal autistic with epilepsy, and it was we had DM'd her a couple of times, and I was about to be on her show before she passed away.
Oh,
and when she passed away, I was just like, here's somebody who's going through what I went through, and her poor sister I just feel family. So I'm just so glad that we have this community around us to support us. I knew I was going to cry. I'm so sorry. And, but I just want to thank you, Laura, and Lisa too, especially since you come on, we've just exploded. But thank you to Laura. You have made this fight worth doing. I mean, it's just, when I look back in 20 years, I get to say I knew Laura, and we fought for healthcare together. So
we were I just can't thank you enough for deciding to. Yeah, that's right. No, one of my questions for you, Sarah, was actually, and I know we don't want to make Shane mad. I don't
want to run over your time. Sorry, I left so many times.
No. But it's ironic that you bring it up though, because one of my prepared questions that came into my head just before starting was like that I imagined myself asking you, Sarah, was what do you want to say to people who are under the impression or who think that Laura Fielding is the Red Berets? I'm like, what do you say to that?
I would say that you are our North Star. You guide us, and that's all.
That's it.
You are not the whole, but you are the inspiration for it. You are the reason that we still get up and knit in the morning and crochet in the morning and, watch football this evening and crochet. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make more hats and watch football. So You know,
Oh,
you are the North Star. You are, um, when you get frustrated, I, I feel the community push you back up. When you get, when people beat you down, I see the community go, no, Laura, we are here. We believe in your vision. Um, it's inclusive. That's why I feel that you get the support that you get. You really are. And it's felt communally, you know. So when Lisa gets ganged up on Twitter, we all go to her aid too. We don't, you know, just leave each other hanging out to dry. When someone needs something extra yarn, uh, a call, hey, did you see that idiot on Twitter? Did you catch the latest, you know, interview with Georgia on Ron Placone? Did you, you know, that's the kind of community we have. And that, I mean, I'm lucky. I live in Washington, so I get the whole Washington family and the Red Berets family, which is so close. It's scary at this point, but it's it's a beautiful community to be part of, and I'm grateful that I was there
Yes,
at that coffee shop, and when
that's
you told me about your crazy idea, because I love it. I think it wasn't crazy at all. I thought it was, how many do I have to crochet, and when do you need them by?
yeah, I made that meme of when you made me the tree topper, the Bernie Red Beret tree topper. I made a one of those old school memes out of it that was like, "Am I crazy? Crazy enough to knit a shitload of red berets?"
Yeah,
uh,
and it's like that
but
at
we
every
have to
event.
be a little
Like
bit, you know.
you want
Sorry,
an event at Kilmer's office, we all bring 10 berets.
that's
You
it.
want
Yeah,
an event at Washington, at the Seattle Center, we all bring 10 berets. You go to DC and you bring 30 berets. It's because it's, we see the need, and then like they're gone. Like,
yeah,
I think I left the Seattle March with like 5 berets and some
yeah.
scrunchies. Like, it was, and it was hot, and we were selling,
Oh gosh.
you know,
Oh, Shane is
we're
gonna.
over.
I know
We're
I'm
so
so
over. But
sorry. We're over.
did you
But
get the banner? You took the banner, Sarah. The Red
no,
Berets
nurse,
banner.
no,
No. Well, anyway, collectively,
no,
what you and
no.
Carlene did at the March for Medicare for All Seattle,
Carlene
it
has
just
it. Sorry.
yeah. No,
I'm
no, no,
so
no,
like,
no. I
it's
mean,
nurse something. Nurse
no.
Carlene has it.
I know. No, I know. I have it. I'm good. I meant
Right.
thank you for everything that you both did.
Oh
That
yeah, we
banner.
took it to put it up, and it was a
Yeah.
beautiful backdrop
Yes.
at the
Yes.
Seattle Center where everybody spoke. I mean,
Yeah.
if you get to go see it, I think
Yes.
it's on Roar Media.
Yes.
Um, they have it, and
Yep.
it's Kama Swant's speech is
Yes.
in front of it, and it is truly powerful.
Absolutely. No,
Yes,
that was that was
let's plug that. We've got a December 7th vote that everybody's got to vote no on that recall for
yeah.
Kashama.
Yes, for
I need to
Swan, you
keep
got to
all
get
these
on that.
things
Got to get your
ticking.
ballots in.
Mm-hmm.
And
We
I
need
will
to
just
keep
wish
that
you would
too.
take on Cantwell or Murray,
I
and
Yeah, I
know.
do
I
too.
that
know.
way I could
I
vote
do
for her
too.
too.
I do too.
Well, and
But yeah,
one more.
just to wrap
Go ahead.
on my
Yeah.
side, I just to wrap up really quick and say on my side for you guys, I just want to say thank you to Laura, thank you to Lisa. What you've done,
Thank
Lisa,
you.
since you've come on and spreading the movement further across the country. I mean, your goal of having all of us across state lines is amazing. The fact that we have sibling chapters all over
Mhm.
is just, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Just do
Laura and
more.
I came up with that
More.
years ago, and like it was like, how are we going to do this, right? Well, we needed 3 more years. Ta-da! Here we are.
The time needed to be ripe, yeah. And so thank you so much, Sarah. Thanks for coming on, and I'm sure it will not be the last time. And in
Thank you
gratitude
for being
for
patient
Shane.
with me and my family and all my craziness over here. I hope
You
next
should see
time
my
it's
house.
not so bad, because I really wish we could talk to a little bit more about a couple of things, but we'll get it next time, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have another time, and I'm just I'm so sorry and so moved, just to hear about that. That's just horribly sad for so many reasons, for your own little piece of loss there, Annalise. That was an enormous. It sent shockwaves through all of us, and just to hear your piece of pain that you didn't get the opportunity to go and share.
I couldn't even type a tweet. I couldn't even tweet about it. I had to just retweet Ron Pulcone because he had put it so precisely and put it so wisely, like he always does. But I felt it so deeply, I couldn't put it into words. And I feel like that about so many things on Twitter that I can't tweet about it because I can't say it. I can't say it right. I don't have the words in me to say it. Or I'm feeling it too deeply to say it. And it's been months now that I still cry about it. But thank you for giving me that chance to come on and say that. The gratitude from all of you guys. I see Joe in the chat and everything, and what he's done for Red Berets. I know you were talking. I heard you a little bit earlier talking about what I do on Twitter. I do very little. I tag. I don't vague tweet. Like if someone's gonna, I tag the person in the tweet. So
well, you fit into the same category as Lisa and I do, in that when you're really inspired and in your groove, we're very use the word cheerleadery if we want, but it's something that mobilizes people and gets people excited, and then we bounce back and forth. I would say that when you're in your groove on Twitter, you are very good. You don't just at people. And
thank God Laura's in her groove on Twitter all the time, right?
It's not all the time.
Damn. Get real tired of me. Some people get real tired of me, but other times I try to just be, like, hey, why haven't you been? Why aren't we on your show? Have you heard about us? We are making noise. There's a documentary.
That's right, because you were pivotal in that too. Laura did the go live, and she's like, "Damn it, Indie Media, hi, when are you going to have me on?" And then you followed up with some stuff. So that was my husband. Come here, say hi. Come here. Mr. Revolution, come meet my hubby. Say hi. This is my husband, David.
Like, wait a second. How long is this?
And he brought the puppy. Hi.
Oh, it's a puppy dog.
Can I give you a beret? Hold on. Can I give you a beret?
But yeah, she's very right in that sense that it's, I do try to just at you. I'm gonna at you. If you have a show and we haven't been on it yet, if you haven't had Laura on or Lisa on or Andre or Jason Call, or I could keep going, George Davenport, if you haven't had Jen Nye on, if you haven't had,
there's so many. There's so many. Rhonda? That's why we have Knit the Revolution now.
We gotta get Jen on here.
Yeah, Jen. Yes, we do need Jen.
Jen and Rhonda. Would be a fabulous show for my idea. Yes. But awesome. They, you've got a community around you here, and so to answer your question very bluntly, Lisa, she is not the leader. She is not. We're not in a cult. We don't follow. She has given us guidelines, and this is what our mission statement is, as a sense of what we're fighting for. But because there's no boundaries to it, no boundaries to the craft you can make, it's inclusive, and that's where you're gonna draw on people. Like, oh, I don't have to just make a red beret. I can make
make
my punk patches that I have over here. I can make
black roses,
and those are so easy. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
and I'm excited for the 10th to see everybody's crafts when we all get together on the 10th for our Zoom meeting. I hope to see everybody there because that is going to be amazing. And if you need, I'm on Twitter. I'm not always on Twitter all day, all long. So like there might be an 8-hour gap, but I get there. And I try to be there for you guys as much as possible. Like when I can be there physically, I was so happy to be there at Kilmer's office, making you that
awesome.
snood. It was so much fun. And having you high step across the intersection, and Kenny there, and Scott was there and his moving story. Every time I have to turn Scott off all the time because I am just waterworks at his story.
That's a heartbreaker every time.
Yeah.
Every time. I've heard it a million times, and each time it just
that video is still my. No, don't get me wrong. I love the one that Ryan Knight. I love his. Is very, very powerful.
Oh yeah.
I'm even coming to kind of love. There were things I said in mine where I thought, oh, Kenny could have chosen so many different clips, and that's so interesting that he focused on that. And now I've come around to, I understand why he made my video clip exactly as he did. But I will say that the whole Washington Rep Kilmer event, that video, it's so amazing. As he's really, Lisa was there. Gosh, Amber
it really
King's
was
amazing.
It
there was so
lends
much
back
good
to
stuff.
what Joe says on his show about the visual of it. The pure
the tag.
Yeah.
Catch. Driving down. Whoa, what are all those red people doing there? How can we get, why is a bunch of ladies sitting on the corner with signs crocheting? What are they doing? Why are they sitting there? It is a visual that is to not be underestimated. You talked about a peace army, and it's so hard to use the word peace because we're going to need to fight like hell to get healthcare. And the people that we're fighting are willing to they're willing to kill us.
Yeah,
and
they are.
Well, they already are.
They are already doing it. And
they already are killing us. Yes.
We have to
so
be
our weapons
are
our peace weapons are our needles and our hooks and our magic markers
and our crochet hooks
and our voices and
our pens
and our pens.
Oh, and my tongue, baby.
Yeah.
We must not underestimate the power of the people who are writing our policies for us.
Yes.
And writing our ballot initiatives and writing our legislative ballots, and not our ballots, but our legislation. Because I know that whole Washington has legislation going in again. And I know how different the ballot is worded comparatively speaking to the SB 5204. I don't even know if that's still the number for it.
It is.
But
I have to, because I feel
it's
at
important
this point,
to know that those people are important. I'm sorry, Laura, to interrupt that, but it's just important to
just see
understand
the comment
that those people are important.
We're over by 12 minutes. That's why she's kind of stressing.
Yeah. No. It's we've all done it. We all keep going on and on. But just let's all say thank you to Shane.
Yes, thank you, Shane.
Thank you
must be over
for being
and
patient
also,
with me.
Everyone, please go to the patreon.com. Go and like and subscribe to KRTD Media, and that's how we can thank Shane today.
And thank you everyone for being with us. And next week, Laura, same time.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
The channel.
All right. Thank you so
Love
much.
you guys.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hit the revolution, folks.
Bye.
Woo!